So he's been the head coach at his alma mater, Belmont, since 2019 with a record of 74-16 in that time. Belmont's 22-5 on the season right now, with just 4 games left heading into the OVC tournament. They're on an 8-game winning streak. I'm joined now by head coach Casey Alexander. Casey, thanks for joining me.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for asking.
So, Belmont's been on an incredible run of success over the past 2 years, one of 6 programs in the U.S. with 50 or more wins. What are some of the key contributing factors to your success?
Cohesiveness is first and foremost. We've got a roster that largely sticks together from year to year, very little staff turnover. It's been that way for 20 years or so. And so we were able to kind of just keep plugging along. Not much changes on our end from year to year.
So we'll get into a little bit of, just this year, the season. So I've watched you guys quite a bit. So prior to the last win over Southeast Missouri, you were down at the half 3 games in a row and won them all. I watched that entire Moorhead game. And to be honest, I didn't think you had any business winning it, but you did. How you ended up pulling these out, being down at the half 3 games in a row.
Yeah, not exactly how we would draw it up by any stretch. Those 3 games, we were down 20 in the second half to Tennessee Tech. And came back to win that game, took our first lead in overtime, as a matter of fact. And then the slugfest with Moorhead that you mentioned, just a really atypical game for us. We're top 10 in the country in scoring and a lot of really pretty offensive numbers. And we win that game. I think it was 48-47. So I was really particularly proud of our team for finding a way to win when it was not our style by any stretch. And so we've won 8 in a row. We feel good about that, but we have not played very well, in my opinion. There's a lot of room for improvement. I guess that's the good news.
Well, it's got to be encouraging when you're winning ugly, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're doing it in different fashions, that was, we were great defensively against Moorhead. We were really good offensively down the stretch at Tennessee Tech. And, this time of year for sure. Winning is the name of the game. You'd like to play a little cleaner, or you'd love to see your style just executed perfectly, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. And you have to find ways to win. I think having a veteran group and a lot of experience in our program and guys that are used to winning has certainly helped us during this stretch where we haven't played great, but we're still winning.
So what's the chat just about some of your guys? I've watched them, especially over the past 2 years, quite a bit, but just wanted to find out a little bit about who they are off the court. We can all go sit and watch Belmont highlights or Belmont games, but, Grayson Murphy recently became the OVC all-time leader in assists. What makes this guy such a special player?
Yeah, he's a winner, as much as any player that I've ever been around, not let alone coached. Been in the game for a long, long time, and the guy just finds a way to make contributions that win games. He's also on pace or really near the all-time steals record for the OVC. So got a chance to walk out of here with both of those records in his back pocket. That says a lot about his career and says a little bit about how he plays. Steals and assists, neither of those are column grabbing, eye-popping scoring numbers, but it's a good indication of how he helps us win like he does.
And then, of course, big Nick Mazinski, 6'11" center. He's been, the core of your team for a couple of years now. Kind of guy is he off the court?
Yeah, he's he's probably as locked in on the college basketball scene and really athletics in general. He's a really smart guy. He would be a great coach if he wanted to be a coach one day, because he's cerebral, and understands intricacies of the game and really sports in general. He's a talker. He's kind of the life of the party. He's the guy you can always hear on the bus. He's one of those kind,
He sounds like my son. I got an 18-year-old son that plays university soccer, and that's what his coach tells me. He's like, on the bus, that's all you hear is his voice on those rides. And so,
well, he commands the room for sure.
Yeah. So one guy, this is a guy that I kind of fell in love with last year watching you guys, is Jacoby Wood. Little kind of point guard off the bench for us. He's somewhere in Tennessee. I ended up connecting with his high school or AAU head coach when I wrote an article on Jacoby last year. And he was like, everything you said in that article is what I was preaching, but kind of under recruited. Tell me about the first time you came across him and what he's meant to Belmont over the past 2 years.
Yeah, we kind of, I was at Lipscomb actually as the head coach there when we first started recruiting Jacoby, and Belmont was recruiting him at the same time. So when I got the job, all those scenarios kind of merged together, and it made for a fairly easy recruitment. We got him early in the summer before his senior year, but saw his offensive talent is exceptional. His ability to not only score the ball but make plays for others is really good. It's been tough for him, honestly, here because with Grayson Murphy and Luke Smith also on the roster and playing a lot of minutes, all three of those guys are natural point guards. That's really all they've ever played in their career, but we've got three of them that are basically playing all of the minutes at the 1 and the 2 positions. And so Jacoby's had to defer his normal role a little bit more than he would like and what I would like for him to do. But, the ball is going to be handed to him as soon as this season's over. It'll be his team from now on.
So how do you manage that amongst the guys? Is that a sit down or, amongst the three and say, hey, look, this is how your playing time is going to unfold? Or is
and let's be clear. Jacoby's, he's playing 4 minutes a game. He has a significant role on our team right now. He's just not the dominant point guard on our team very often when he's in the game. So, and to his credit, he's a team player in every sense of the word. He's a team favorite in every sense of the word. Guys love him. He makes a great contribution to our team on and off the floor every day.
So Belmont leaving the Ohio Valley Conference at the end of this year, going to the Missouri Valley Conference. Thoughts on that move?
Great for our program and great for the university as a whole. I think it's a natural step for us. As we continue to try to elevate what we're doing here, I think, we've had enough success over the years and, comparatively to warrant a belief that we can walk in to that league and also be successful. But we are also aware that it's a much tougher league from top to bottom. And, everything from resource wise to travel to you name it is going to be more difficult than it is in the OVC. So we've got some improvements to make, but we're excited about it.
So I sit on the MVC coaches call every Monday morning. So you're going to have to get used to seeing this face across on the Zoom. Does the OVC do that? I've been on 1 or 2 OVC. That was like preseason, but they don't do it weekly.
No, definitely not a weekly. Yeah, we periodically, but definitely not weekly.
It's a bit of a drag for some of the coaches. You can see it where it's like, man, we just went through this last Monday and then here we are. And then even yesterday I sat on and Dan Muller comes on, who had just been fired by Illinois State. And he was talking about how, well, I'm going to stick around and the kids voted me. And it was like, to be honest, it was a little uncomfortable watching. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work with living in the house with your ex-wife almost. And then about an hour later on Twitter, I saw that, he had just stepped down. And so, bit of an uncomfortable situation. So, you're a Belmont grad. You're in the school's athletic Hall of Fame. If you were the Belmont head coach for the next 20 years, would that be a successful career to you?
Heck yeah, it would. I've lived my whole life. I'm 49. I've lived my whole life in Nashville, except for the 2 years I was a head coach at Stetson down in DeLand, Florida. And so it's home to me. My wife's family's from really close by. I've got 25 years probably total logged in at Belmont as a player and an assistant coach and a head coach. And so it's a great job. It's a great opportunity. They treat us really well here. And so, yeah, if I'm here until I hang up the whistle, I'll be a really lucky man.
So I've never been to Nashville. Give me some go-to restaurants in that neck of the woods. If I manage to, if they open our border and let us get across, I'm up in Canada.
And there's too many to speak of. Honestly, Nashville is, over the last several years, they estimate 100 people per day moving to Nashville, and the city's skyrocketing. It's a destination location. You go downtown, gosh, pretty much any night, but especially in warm summer months, and it's flooded with tourists and everything else. So hot chicken's what people are talking about right now. Nashville hot chicken. But we've got it all. We've got good old Southern comfort foods, a lot of meat and three kind of places. We've got great barbecue here. We got high-end restaurants. You can get anything you need when you come to Nashville.
Awesome. I can't wait one of these days. I've been to Knoxville, but not Nashville. So
not the same.
I know. We'll get there. So you take over from the legendary Rick Byrd. I had the chance to speak with him a couple of years ago when I was writing for SB Nation. Not X's and O's, but what are some of the things you learned from him about people or player management?
Yeah, well, he's the only person that I ever worked for. I started coaching as an assistant right as I finished my playing career. So I was here for 20 years consecutively before I left to be a head coach. And so really the way he runs the program is all that I know. Naturally, in the last 10 or so years, I've because my personality is different and I've coached different places that, my program has a little bit of a different feel to it than his did. But The guy did, is the model of consistency, integrity, character, any of those, any of those things that you want to say. I mean, he is just, the best thing I say about him, whether it was the early 90s when we were a good NAIA program, or 2019, which was his last year, when they had a nice NCAA tournament run, is he never changed. I mean, he recruited the same kind of players. He had the same standards for the program. He never cut corners. He believed that things should be done a certain way, and he was going to do it that way, whether he was successful or not. But ultimately, it's the entire reason he was successful.
Cool. So having a look, I mean, you mentioned recruiting, and I was going through your roster last night. Did I read it right? You have no transfers, or am I missing something?
On our current roster?
Yeah.
Transfers into Belmont? Yeah,
Yeah.
we have none. We've only had, I think we've had 4 undergraduate transfers leave our program in 17 years. And we've had just a handful of guys transfer in, and those are typically people that we recruited on the front end and have a pretty good relationship with. But that was the first question you asked, is why the success at Belmont, and it really just has been the level of consistency and the cohesion within the roster. We don't get to the spring and try to patch it up and try to go find somebody to fill a spot. We just we recruit high school kids only, pretty much, and we get our commitments early and move on to the next class and put it on repeat.
I mean, that's a vast difference to the way a lot of people are coaching right now. I do play-by-play for Orangeville Prep, which is the #1 high school program up here in Canada, like Jamal Murray, Denver Nuggets, Lou Dort, a whole bunch of guys. I mean, dozens of NCAA guys. And this is one of the most talented rosters this year in years, but very under-recruited. They've got, 3-4-star players, but so many coaches are going transfer portal that there's just a lot of kids sitting there kind of waiting for that phone to ring right now. You finding that a lot across the US as well?
Yeah, 100%. And there are plenty of examples out there of coaches that have either taken on new jobs and they've gotten the quick fix because they've been able to go into the portal and assemble a roster. Wake Forest is a good example of that right now, and what Steve Forbes has done with a largely brand new cast of characters. And but it's also it's pretty high risk, high reward if that's the area you want to live in. And but there's more than one way to do it. I mean, if that's successful for one person, that's great. It may not be successful for everybody. And maybe it'll change for us down the road. I mean, I don't want it to. We're still very much committed to the model of building a program and having a program, for these guys to come into. And but there are a lot of coaches out there who will openly tell you, hey, I'm not building a program anymore. I'm just going from one season to the next, try to figure it out.
Well, I have an 11:45 with Richie Riley at South Alabama, and he's made a living off that. That's a buddy of mine. So he's just the exact opposite of kind of where you're at,
Yeah, and I'm not at all going to sit here and pretend that our way is better than another way. There's a lot of ways that you can win games. It's been so important to our success at Belmont that I would be foolish to intentionally try to make it, do it a different way.
So Casey, before I worked in media and sports, I was a music agent. I used to produce concert tours for Grammy-winning musicians for over 20 years. So I always ask coaches and players, any musical taste, any favorite singers or albums you can point out?
Come on, man. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm country music.
Yeah.
I mean, gee whiz. If you could get my wife 2 tickets to a Morgan Wallen concert right now where I didn't have to break the bank to do it, then you and I could be really good friends.
I'll see what I can do. I've been out of music for a couple of years now, but I still know a few people out there. Any podcast suggestions, listening when you're working out, anything like that?
Oh man, I go back and forth. I listen to a lot of basketball podcasts. I've got 3 or 4 local churches where I listen to their Sunday messages when I need a little pick me up there. I'm not much into novels or crime scene stuff. Everything I read is nonfiction. Everything I listen to has some kind of, something behind it that I can learn from and move on. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I read quite a bit, and I'm more of a biography kind of. I'm not really into fiction, anything like that. It's even people say to me, what Netflix shows you're watching? And I'm like, I watch every OVC game on Thursday nights. Like last year, I kept track. I watched over 850 college basketball games. I'm a little down this year. I'm at about somewhere approaching the 500 range. But
Yeah.
I don't, Netflix, none of that. It's so much college basketball. That's it.
We actually are a lot alike in that regard. I mean, my wife is, bless her for sure, because she loves to sit right beside me and watch games. But we're on the Roku watching ESPN Plus pretty much from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. while I've got my computer in my lap trying to get ready for the next game. But that's what we do in our household, for sure.
So I mean, when you need that break from basketball, I know your wife and 3 kids.
Yep.
What do you do just to get away from basketball? I mean, in golf, anything, exercise, what's your mental stress relief?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a seasonal golfer. It's pretty tough for coaches to be year-round golfers, but love to play in the summertime. Got a good local course where we can play with Coach Bird a lot, actually. So yeah, that's a hobby of mine. I'm actually a huge baseball fan, so I follow baseball really closely when we're not in season. Big Cubs fan. So, but those are the 2 things I do the most. But I spend a lot of time with family. My wife and I walk a ton just through the streets of Nashville and just enjoy her company.
Cool. So this season, a bit of almost a reversal from where you were last year. Last year, you guys had won about 20 games in a row. You had this big target on your back, and then disappointment in the OVC tournament. This year, it's like, Murray, maybe Moorhead have that target on your back, and you're kind of sneaking in behind them. A little bit more comfortable this year, or would you rather have that target on you?
No, I'd rather have the target. I'd rather be sitting in first place all by ourselves right now. But we've got a good team, by any metric you want to look at. I mean, we're top 50 in the net probably, and, been right there in the 50s all season long in Kim Pom, and still getting some attention for an at-large, possibility. Got some work to do there as far as that's concerned, but we're having a great year. We've won 22 games already. I mean, we've got I think maybe 5 top 100 wins, so we're doing pretty well. We just, we stumbled early against Murray and Moorhead and put ourselves in 3rd in the standings. And, so we've kind of been climbing ever since then to try to get back to some relevancy in the league.
So one of those wins, and this is just more for my sort of personal taste, back on November 26th, you beat Iona. Awesome program. Rick Pitino. I mean, he's one of the reasons I started watching college basketball. Providence College back in 1987. That was a team I connected with as a young guy. And what was it like coaching against Rick?
Well, obviously he's literally one of the best, if not the best to ever do it. And so it was a challenge and it was fun, but we're down there in Orlando playing in the ESPN Events Invitational, and there's a great field. And, we didn't even know we were playing Iona until about midnight. So, you don't have a whole lot of time to worry or think about things like that, but he's got a really good team, as we all know. They've stumbled a little bit here in the last week as well, but that was a good win for us. We knock off Drake in the first round, then we beat Iona in the second round and have a really good 2-point game against where we lost to Dayton in the championship. But that was a good week for our program.
Well, Casey, thankful for your time. Last question. So, but 2 weeks left in the regular season. I mean, what's it going to take for Belmont to come out victorious in the OVC tournament? What are some of the key factors that you're focusing on with you and your guys? Like, we got to do this to kind of get through.
Yeah, you know what? We're lucky here that we don't have to cross our fingers to hope that we can win a championship. And we know we have the pieces to win. We've got, great experience. We've got good depth. We've got good balance across our lineup, and we've got guys that have won a lot of games in this league. Now, is that going to be easy? Of course, it's not going to be easy. Moorhead State's got a tremendous team, and Murray is, their record and their ranking speaks for itself right now. So it's a challenge, and it'll be an uphill climb. But I love our team. I think we can win offensively. I think we can win defensively, and if we ever put it together, I think we can be really good.
Awesome. Well, hey, Casey, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. OVC tournament coming up. I'll be rooting for you guys. And hey, if you get to March Madness, let's reconnect and do this again.
That sounds great. I look forward to it. Thanks for today.
Appreciate it.